Well, welcome back to this third interview in our series with local LGBTQ plus affirming organizations and resources. And today we are really lucky to be joined by Gina and Sunny with the Council for the Homeless. Hi, Gina. Hi, Sunny.
Hi. Hello. Thanks for having us.
Thank you for being here. I would love for you to start off by telling us a little bit about Council for the Homeless. What do you do here in our community?
So Council for the Homeless, we're the first entry point, the first stop for folks that are experiencing homelessness or housing instability. We know right now many folks that are struggling to pay their rent. So we are going to be the place through our housing hotline. Folks are going to be calling. The idea of what is known as coordinated entry is folks will call this initial point, so they're not having to go to 20 different places. Instead, they call one place to access shelter, see if there's shelter available, see if potentially rental assistance. If they're needing help for longer term supports, that would be, again, the initial place that folks would call. So that, in a nutshell, is Council for the Homeless, kind of how we operate. We also have the diversion program. So I'm the director of diversion. And that approach is for folks who maybe they don't need longer term assistance, or just maybe a little bit of assistance and support to navigate through barriers. We know that folks have more barriers more than ever, perhaps have landlord debt and stuff like that, it just poses a challenge, as well as finding apartments that are able to rent to folks right now. There aren't that many openings. So that is something that Gina and myself both work on, and something that we're very passionate about and excited to offer to the community.
That is exciting, and it's great that there is one number that folks can call, like you said, and not have to call around. So I'm curious, what should folks expect when they do call in Council for the Homeless to get that housing assistance or shelter support or anything else? Kind of what can they expect? What kind of questions might you want to ask them?
Well, the first time they call, they're going to reach a highly trained call specialist, and they will be doing an initial screening, asking questions, demographics, date of birth, race, ethnicity, employment, do they have any disabilities? There is a question if they belong to the LGBTQ community, and there is a reason for that. It is to get connected to the FACE program if they are eligible. Is there anything else I'm missing?
Yeah, I think that, so with all of those questions, just really important to note something that we always want folks to know is our aim to ask these questions. It's something that with funding that we're required to ask, and if someone is ever uncomfortable, it doesn't feel that they want to disclose that information, they don't have to disclose that information. So, and that is something that we share at that initial screening when we have that conversation. And just to let you know, we're going to ask some questions that might feel a little bit personal. It is not to screen you out, but instead to see as many possible resources that might be available to you. So we want it to be the best possible fit. And then we proceed asking those questions, and folks are able to say pass or no, I don't want to share that. And that is totally fine.
Great. And Gina, you mentioned the program that you work with, and can you talk a little bit more about that and maybe
Sure.
and what you can do for folks who are LGBTQ?
Sure. It's called the FACE program, Family Assistance Community Engagement. In fact, Sunny and I have been working on it together for the past 3 years. Right now, we're serving families, and that is defined as at least one parent or guardian in the household with a child under 18 or a pregnant person 18 years or older. And it is the diversion process of finding housing, but it's more than just housing. It's building relationships as well. We try to create a really safe space in this program. A lot of people are apprehensive to say that they're part of the community. And I try to offer a space where they can talk. A lot of people have stories that they want to share. They're listened to, they're believed, they're supported, they're advocated for. And, building the relationships is a huge part of this program. It's a smaller program, so I have more time to really get to know people and to build those relationships.
That's really exciting, and thank you all for doing that really important work. I'm also wondering if you can talk a little bit about temporary shelters, because there are times when folks need a temporary shelter. And can you talk a little bit about, can you help folks find a shelter space that might be safe and affirming for them as an LGBTQ person?
So that's a really good question, and absolutely in need in the community. we absolutely work very hard to ensure that folks are able to go to the shelter that they feel will be the best fit for them. And I also have to acknowledge that our community doesn't have a LGBTQ specific shelter currently. So absolutely folks are able to identify the shelter of their choice and are able to go there, and also have to recognize that there is a need for the LGBTQ community specifically to have a shelter that is available that is able to provide services for them specifically, and not something that we currently have in the community.
Well, hopefully that's something we can all keep building towards, is having that space. And I appreciate that you're helping folks get to the shelter that they feel is going to be right for them. That's really important to give folks that agency. So if folks want to get in touch with you at council, what is the best way to reach you?
The best way would be to call the housing hotline, and that is 360-695-9677. Also can be found on the Council for the Homeless webpage or Google. One number, simple.
Wonderful. And I love that for the community, right? That you don't have to call 25 places. You just call one place that you know is going to give you the help you need. Well, is there anything else you'd like us to know about Council for the Homeless, or any other things you'd like folks to know about housing?
I think one thing that when we were reflecting on what we wanted to tell you, or what we wanted to share with the LGBTQ community, I think something that is really important, and Gina mentioned briefly, is we really passionately believe, and Gina said this, so I can't take credit for it, but just believing someone as they're sharing their experience. And that's something that we think is incredibly important, and acknowledging that absolutely our community members are, absolutely our neighbors experience discrimination in housing. And when they share their experience, that they are heard and believed that they did experience discrimination. So that's something that we want to make sure that we're communicating to the community, and just acknowledging that we do know that that happens. So that they're able to come here and share that experience, and they absolutely will be believed in their experience.
Thank you so much, Gina. Thank you so much, Sunny. I really appreciate this conversation. And in the description for the video, we'll have your phone number, we'll have your social media. So if folks want to check that out, it's going to be down below. And thank you so much.
Thank you.